Vans and training.
Yeah.
On converters, like.
Oh my god.
He's pegged for a farm supervisor position.
Really? Jeez, that'll be the job.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big old.
Yeah, full farm.
There's no small fucking wind farms like.
No.
Oh, it's class the way it's getting dark already, isn't it?
That's amazing.
Leon, can you hear us now? Do we have sound? Perfect. The postcode pulled up. Hope everyone's having a great day. For all of our American and I think Canadian Thanksgiving is different.
They don't do Thanksgiving, do they?
They do. There's Canadian Thanksgiving, but it's a different day. So for all of our American or identifying as American listeners and watchers, I hope you had a lovely Thanksgiving and that you're all out murdering each other in the shops on Black Friday.
Do you know someone a couple of years ago died, a Walmart employee? He got trampled by like 2,000 people.
What?
Yep.
Lads, come on.
Man, no?
Yeah.
So, on average, well, it's the case in Ireland anyway, but the sales, it's never cheaper than any other point in the year.
Okay.
Most companies know when they're doing it that they'll...
Yeah. On average.
They know, like...
Yeah.
It does work out for us because it's the only sale we do. But for places like, I don't know, Harvey Norman, Smith's,
yes,
big shopping centers, you know, they do sales all year round, you know.
Yeah.
And like I was looking at someone like tracks like a random TV at different times throughout the year, and like 4 or 5 different times you could grab it for the same or cheaper.
That's crazy.
Yeah. For us, it does make sense because it's literally the only sale we do. You know,
we have 5 Sika pants wearers in the chat right now.
Oh, that's unreal.
That is phenomenal.
I think for the version 3. It's just going to be aesthetic changes, and there'll be very little practical changes, I think. We're going to have a look at the waistband again and loosen that a small bit. But I think just visually, just going to change them a little bit, just change up how they look. I think we're pretty set on the material.
Yeah.
It's incredibly well wearing, you know.
I really like that as a pair of pants.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a year and a half into the sample ones we've got with the same composition. And they are wearing really well. So it'll just be mostly visual changes from here for next time being.
As a matter of interest, just for the 30 or 40 people who are here at the moment, if ye were looking at like merchandise online or a piece of like clothing you wear in the gym, what would it be? What's the kind of bigger gap that you see out there at the moment? Like I know training pants was a major one for us, and that's why we started to develop training pants. Is there anything out there at the moment for you that would be beneficial? Obviously, this is a bit of market research for us, but like it is interesting to hear your side of things.
Obviously, I'm hoping someone says, "Oh, I wish I had a supplement that could help you with my sleep."
Oh,
that would be great.
A Sika singlet definitely will be cool. Definitely.
The singlet thing is definitely something we're going to do. I'm just going to say that. That's for sure something we'll do at some point. But it's... No, that's all I'll say. Yeah. They just... Yeah.
We did a singlet for one of our sponsored athletes.
Oh, it looked great.
2 years ago. And it looked great. Like I rarely had such envy. We'd get like a lot of merch made or like for like the lads going to competitions. We'll have t-shirts and we'll give them t-shirts or hoodies or whatever. Or like
I don't even have a gi with Sika strength on it.
Yeah. For no gi Euros, we had 2 different senior athletes at it.
There's more athletes with rash guards and
Yeah.
gis with Sika strength on it. Then we've none.
Yeah.
We've nothing with Sika strength on it for a gis or rash guard.
Nothing. So when I was handing that stuff over, I was like, "Oh, this is so nice." It was like brand new tatami gear, and I was like, "Oh, I really don't want to give this away," you know.
Mhm.
But that singlet that we had for Hayden was a brand new virus singlet with Sika strength embroidery on it. It was sick.
The on Sika Sleep, we'll have we're on the flavor testing.
Yeah,
soon.
next week hopefully.
Yeah, so we kept it in house. It's an Irish company we're doing it with.
I think it's just better all around. Like, there's a lot of biopharma and large scale manufacturing in Ireland as it is.
Practically,
Practicality,
legally,
everything. Warehousing,
quality,
everything.
obviously is huge.
Okay. A lot of people saying they love the pants. A lot of people saying they got programs today. So just so you do know, today is the only sale of the year for us. Or Black Friday is the only sale we do. So if you are thinking of buying programs, there's 20% off everything this weekend. Okay. So where are we? Leon says, "How are you two doing? How are you doing, Gareth?"
Pretty good.
That's it. Connor says, "Well, lads." Okay, Marcus with a very good question. Most valuable home gym equipment, what to buy versus what to make on your own. The most important thing is a barbell and bumper plates. Whether you're powerlifting, weightlifting, or just like an athlete doing S&C work, nothing will replace a barbell with some bumpers. And I'd just say buy bumpers from the start. I'd also say when you're buying a barbell and buying bumpers, over-invest on the barbell and under-invest on the bumpers. Like, I've had full competition bumpers. Obviously, we've like outlaid the whole gym. When I opened the gym a few years ago, we had full competition color style bumper plates. I've had the cheapest of cheap Chinese bumper plates, and to be honest, you should have the cheapest bumper plate you can buy and the most expensive barbell you could afford. I think that's a general piece of guidance I'd give to anyone.
So squat rack, plates, and bumpers. And then resistance bands are probably the most versatile in terms of assistance work, because anything you can do with a dumbbell or kettlebell, by and large, so like 90%, you can replicate to some fashion with the barbell in terms of accessory. You know, it's like split squats, weighted push-ups. You know, you can put plates on your back and stuff. So I'd probably go to like resistance bands next, in terms of like 2 or 3 resistance bands. Then after that, I'd be looking at probably, if the budget goes as far, I'd get like a moderately heavy kettlebell. And then if you the budget, I'd go for the heaviest kettlebell that you can afford. That's what I would buy. The heaviest kettlebell possible. That's what I would get, I think. Like an 80 kilo kettlebell, a 92 kilo kettlebell. There's definitely, I get such a fucking heavy kettlebell if I could get it.
In the old rugby club gym, we used to have to, there weren't kettlebells and stuff, but they had weights that you'd have for keeping down like the sides of trailers, and weights you'd have for keeping down like rigging and stuff. So it was just like a block of iron with something like a handle on it, but it wasn't. But they used to have a 50 kilo one, and that was so handy. Like single arm cheetah rows, any of the like heels raised goblet squats, just a big 50 kilo lump of iron.
Yeah,
so useful.
George Skinner says Columbia fan says, "What's up, Columbia? I hope you enjoyed the Worlds." Columbia probably like soccer today as well.
Yeah,
I feel like they do. George Skinner said he wished he'd stop and help him sleep. Convenient, George.
Nice product placement there.
Connor said he wants a t-shirt that covers his belly and I do pull-ups. So I'll just say this now, right? We'll never have oversized t-shirts to Sika Strength because Darren hates them.
I hate them.
Darren hates them. Owen loves them.
We've already got against a lot of my morals with a lot of the decisions we've made.
Owen hates them. It's the reason we won't ever have like longer shorts, because I hate them and Darren likes them.
I love long shorts.
So any product has to be something we both like, and I really like oversized t-shirts, and I'm going to say this now: Gymshark make really nice oversized t-shirts. But Mr. Dara over here, Mr. Dara.
It's just how it goes. Okay, Al Orlando says, I might be in the minority, but I work out in my garage during Minnesota winter. I need some warm weather gear with flexibility in the shoulders. That's an interesting niche.
I'm going to say no single piece of gear will outweigh multiple layers in the cold.
Yeah, it's layering. Training in sheds is all about layering. It's the same as like training outside in the winter.
Hunting.
Everything is layers.
It's all about layers. Like no one piece of equipment will fix your problem better than multiple layers, I think. Good quality multiple layers, no less.
What I really like for training in the shed is like a big old heavy jacket. Joe, like the old, it doesn't even have to be a waterproof one, but like a big old one, put it on in between each set and then take it off.
Jim, do you know why the roads are so narrow in Ireland? So a lot of those roads are original tracks between townlands or bigger places. And when the powers that be were laying these, some of them were natural and some of them weren't natural. And farmers obviously didn't want a lot of their land taken from them. And so a lot of the times the roads were kept minimal, and just that's how things go. By and by, hundreds of years pass, and here we've just tarred narrow roads instead of bigger roads.
We have a massive road network. Like there's tiny little roads go everywhere.
There truly is.
It's very difficult to find like 4 fields back from a road, or like a area of land that would be bigger than 50 acres that doesn't have a road going through it. Every farm has a road, but
Joey, that is
the English.
Yeah, it is the English.
Yeah.
So when you were dividing up your land, subdivisions, you just kept like quartering your land with your kids, and eventually you had to have a road to your own land.
Yeah.
Those fuckers.
Yeah, it really is. Like even you'll see back in like the west of Ireland, it tends to be wilder country than where we're from, and back west, you'll see like big mountain valleys with nothing in the back of them. So they'd be like a closed off mountain valley where a glacier would have started or formed, and there'd be a road going all the way back in there.
Yeah.
All the way back in. Makes for some great like walking holidays.
George said he recently tried animating sleeping like a log. He used to really struggle with it.
So I hope you're having the crazy dreams.
You will definitely have some crazy dreams on Sika Sleep for the initial part.
Okay, Jake says, could you do a long sleeve shirt made out of similar material to the pants, but not too hot, but keeps you warm?
I don't think I do like the look of that.
Neither would I.
I don't think I like.
I get what you're saying. I understand the piece of clothing you're talking about.
100%.
Yeah.
Practicality, I'd be all over it, but
the shininess.
I just don't know if I could be okay with the look of it.
Yeah.
It'd be like when those NFL players are training, they all wear compression tops.
Yes.
I get why the lads
You understand why they're doing it.
I get why the lads are onto it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I could sell it. Like, I couldn't let you take photos of me in that. Do you know? I'd say.
Okay. Brad asks, any tips for somebody with long femurs with their foot angle with deadlifts? Love the vids. My number one thing, and it really goes for long-legged people more than short-legged people, is toes straight ahead.
Everyone toes straight ahead.
Yeah. Like, we as bigger, longer people tend to think, we'll point our toes out to the side and make it easier, or we'll bring our stance wider and make it easier. If anything, you need to be more efficient. You need to be more toes straight ahead.
All you do to compensate is eventually is you bring your hips higher. Now, at a certain stage, yeah, your hips can be too high for stiff-legged deadlifts, but it all depends on your torso length and the angle for that. So unless you're built with a torso a third of the length of your femurs, you will be able to get to a stage where your toes are straight ahead and your hips are high enough, but your shoulders are still over the barbell, but your hips are still low enough that you're still getting enough quad recruitment, Seeking nipple clamps and win.
They're here right now. You have one in your hand.
The nail clippers. That's disgusting.
Eric says, how much the weightlifting programs are on sale for? Everything is on sale for 20% off. So everything on the website is 20% off. Eek says, have the pants been shipped? Yeah, every pair of pants is gone. So if you want your tracking, just send us an email. We'll send you a tracking number there with it. Paul Paulson comments later on. Paul, you've just gotten your tracking number emailed over to you there. Okay, Big Mick says, missing the weekly Shit Talk podcast on Spotify. It's been a busy few weeks with merch.
There's one recorded, though, and you just haven't put it up.
Yeah.
Blame Dara. Yeah, blame Darren now.
I'll just take that weight of the world on my shoulders once again.
All you have to do is listen to it and then upload.
It's not that simple.
And render. Rendering audio files takes like 12 seconds.
Seek a helmet in case the barbell falls in your head.
Here, that still happens. Remember, I knocked my forehead this year. No, last year.
Where were we going? We were going somewhere just before Romania.
No, it was in Romania. What happened there? It happened?
No, it happened the week before. Gabriel thought it was hilarious.
He did think it was funny.
Dr. Demographic says, if the level... Oh my God.
You turn your phone on silent.
I turned it on silent for our live stream earlier.
You didn't. Dr. Demographic said, if the level of magnesium doesn't make me shit myself after taking it, don't bother. Dr. Demographic, it won't be that magnesium. Which one is the one that makes you, they're specifically used? So that one, there's like 5% absorption of that particular magnesium, but the magnesium we're using won't be the one that makes you shit. But it does help. All magnesium does help a little bit with the poops if you're not super high in the magnesium. But this is the one that will help hopefully the most with sleep. Sika branded USA headband, clock off style.
Fuck yeah.
Just because Dara would like it, I would veto that. Just for the fact that would make
That's the thing. You see, it becomes so toxic then where we'll have nothing for sale because you'll know I want something and I'll know you'll want something.
Yeah, just because I know Dara would love a headband, clock off style, I would then veto that, you know?
Yeah.
I would just be like, oh no.
Me and Garth both had a training partner when we were in university who, very talented weightlifter, but he went through a phase of wearing a hairband. And
no, it wasn't a hairband.
It was like a sweatband.
A sweatband. Give me
that was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
And he was a good weightlifter too.
He was a great weightlifter.
And it was still weird.
Sam
Al said breathable t-shirts would be nice. I usually train with tank tops due to getting fairly hot in t-shirts. So for once, you guys vetoed this. We asked multiple different times if people would like a jersey style, kind of Aussie rules style tank top, rugby league.
Yeah.
And everyone said no. Well, not everyone said no. Most people said no. And all black. Imagine how cool that'd look.
Yeah.
That would be so cool. We wanted to get that one, but if people don't want it, then
it'll look sick. The All Black Sevens team had a tank top. This was like 10 years ago, I'd say.
Yeah.
And it was sick, and I never bought it.
That's from with rugby jerseys. You gotta buy them or they're gone. And you can never get them.
No.
The thing in rugby is funniest, right? It's like, do you know, football, soccer, whatever.
Yeah.
It's who has the newest jersey.
Yeah.
In rugby, it's like
who's got the oldest one.
It's like who's got the oldest Munster jersey.
Yeah.
Is yours made of like cloth with all the what do you call those balls when clothes get really, really old? Ballies. No, it's the name for the bobbles or whatever.
I don't know.
It's like if you've one of those.
I have a long sleeve Munster jersey from
a long sleeve Munster jersey. My God.
From 1999. That's fully signed.
No way.
From 1999, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Paul Paulson, you have your email address or you have your email tracking number. Just check your emails. Columbia fan says, do you guys care about soccer? I literally couldn't care less about soccer.
I'm very interested in the drama in relation to FIFA and this corruption, though.
No, I hate soccer. The problem is, I've just been scorned by soccer too much. Surrounded by soccer people for ages. I'd rather shit in my hands and clap than watch a soccer match.
No, I never liked soccer, no, but I wouldn't go that far.
Marcus says, perfect, thanks. Looking forward to more Sika DIY gym stuff. We'll have to get the old DIY videos going again. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Enrico Oliveira says, regarding home gym equipment, I think the rings are a great investment. Cost next to nothing, can do absolutely great investment. I had a pair of rings for a summer when I lived abroad. Very, very good. And then a camper van parked next to the tree where my rings were one night. Woke up the next morning, rings were gone.
Some weird sex capade. It's like
some weird French sex swinger.
Where we go.
Eric says oversized t-shirts and short shorts are the way to go.
You know
that's the most Owen Murphy girfling thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
You might see short shorts at some point.
A little 5-inch inseam.
You might like.
Rambo wants to know when the OnlyFans is coming.
You already have your OnlyFits, don't you?
Yeah. Something has to pay the wages, Garth. Ian Young says, I'm in Minnesota. I had to give up the garage because it's not insulated. Yeah. If you're in like some of those American states get cold.
Oh yeah. Especially in like the mid-north ones.
Midwest, yeah.
Fermentable barbells that stands at all. We really wanted to call it something stanazolol related. We really did. We both really did. But unfortunately,
Sleepazole.
Yeah, it was going to be something similar. But unfortunately, as a product for the broader market, you can't call it that. And just for like shipping reasons,
just for everything,
international customs, it's bad enough that people's parents think creatine is steroids.
Yeah,
they need something that's very similar to steroids in their press. Mom, can I buy this sleep supplement from Sika Strength? And what's called stanazolol? You're like Sika sleepazolol.
Stanazolol.
You just it's just unfortunately the gag had to be let go for that one, and no better men for it, but we had to let it go for the broader market, for the greater good. For the greater good.
Patrick says he's a former wrestler and he says hooray for the singlet. Patrick, just send us an email, we'll get you your tracking number. Everything has been sent anyway. So Eric says, honestly, it would get so cold where I live that I'd be scared of the barbell sticking to my hand if I train in my shed. Oh, see, I could see that being really nice as well, where you go out to your shed, you're wearing like your big Arctic Explorer jacket with the fur hood, and then you light your stove in the shed, and it's a timber lined shed, and then you have a little carpet on the floor. You slowly tie your weightlifting shoes as the stove is heating up, and you can like warm your hands.
Oh yeah, the only way it like that though is if the stove got so hot. You know when dogs sit close to fire and they have to go away again?
Yeah, where you're like sweating.
That's how hot I want it.
Yeah.
You know when there's like heat waves in Ireland and stuff?
Yeah.
I love training in that. I'm all for that. I love it. Like I'm here for it. I want to be as hot as possible. It's only because I trained for so cold for so long that I think I appreciate it more.
Yeah.
I think I'm like, oh yeah.
Ian Young says, lads, my brother-in-law got a 12-point whitetail the last day of the season on Sunday, right at nightfall. Nice.
12 points. Jesus Christ.
That is a legit whitetail.
We don't really do the points in Ireland. It's just not really.
We do for Sika.
Yeah, but
Sika
only like casually though.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, unless it's something fucking extreme.
Yeah.
You know, in between, it's kind of like, you take note of it.
With red stags, it's like, oh, it was a royal stag or it wasn't, which is like 14 or 16 points or something. It's like a royal stag or it wasn't. With Sika, it's like a 6 point is a normal stag, and 8 points a big stag, and then anything bigger than that is unheard of.
Yeah.
And then with fallow, because of palmations, like you could have fallow that have 45 points.
I wonder what the biggest Sika stag ever has been.
I think for Sika stag to be a gold medal is like a big heavy 8 point.
A Sika stag that big though would be terrifying.
See, they're hybrids, like
that'd be they are. Yeah. But that'd be terrifying. Imagine if you had a Sika stag that size though, and that
Sika stags are just murder deer. Like that's a hybrid. That's not a Sika.
They have a devil face.
Yeah.
Devil face.
There's something with the eyes of a Sika that just make it so.
That's probably as big as they'll get. Like
that black silhouette of a deer.
Yeah. Disappear.
But Ian, that's a legit whitetail. First deer I ever shot was a whitetail deer in South Carolina. South Carolina. Eugene Poon just got his pants. Nice. Paul Paulson got his tracking info. Eugene Poon says also, yikes, what the fuck is with the Sika scammer?
Thanks for every new messages.
Yeah.
Really appreciate that.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And we have t-shirts going out to you guys as well for that help. We're massively appreciative of people reaching out to us being like, what's the story here, you know? It's just crazy. Also, it's crazy that person bought those programs for us, not thinking we'd be able to figure out who it was, and then having all of their card details and address.
Yeah. And
what's going on there, lads?
That's like, at what point do you think, could they do something illegal with all of my personal information I have? Yes or no?
Yes.
Orange Barnacle, is it okay to lock my knees out for stiff leg deadlifts? Seems conflicting info on this. So you don't really want that kind of terminal knee extension at the top. You don't want to be forcing it too much. But in general, with stiff-legged deadlifts, you'll have some amount of flexion in your knee. We're talking very minor amount of flexion. And you just go to that normal level of extension that you get at the top of a normal deadlift. And then you have a very small amount of stiff-legged deadlifts, or a very small amount of flexion in your knee when you're doing them. So you won't be able to see my knees here, but you start relatively high hips. I have some flexion in my legs. I'm probably at like 175 degrees here. I do the rep, and then I'm just normally locked out. So I'm at that passive knee extension. I go back down into it, a little bit of a bend. You don't need to be fully straight. I'm not a huge fan of like that forcing that full extension for the knee. I don't know, would that like forced, like that terminal knee extension where you're locking out as hard as possible under weight, be great for the ligaments in your knee? I don't think it'd be a majorly issue, but we've all had that issues, you know, when you're doing like clean pulls or something where you're like, you extend your leg, you're like, oh, that kind of hurt my knee a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm not a major fan of that, and I don't think you're losing anything by it. Is my opinion.
Fremantle Barbell says, thoughts on Gabriel branching out doing his own news show, reviews, etc. Are you supportive? Are you competing? No, we're definitely supportive.
Of course, yeah.
Gabriel's a great friend of ours.
Yeah, Gabriel's coming to my wedding, like, so there's no.
Yeah.
I would support anything Gabriel does. If Gabriel was
100%.
like, Gabriel wants to review makeup, I would be like super supportive.
Yeah. No, Gabriel's a great guy. Okay.
Usually saying that's when you know your mate. That is true, actually, when people are trying to sell your stuff. It's interesting.
When you're tracking.
Oh, sorry, I skipped on.
Yeah.
Man, what happens?
Yeah.
Matul or Riza says, I hope that's Riza. Do you know who Riza is? Darwin won't know who Riza is.
Where is it?
RZA. Do you know what that is?
No idea. Republic of South Africa.
No, it's the fucking lead singer of the Wu-Tang fan. Riza. Do we need to code that checkout? Yeah, so it's BF20. BF20. Capital B, capital F20.
For best friend 20.
Sure. C. Goodman said, thoughts on training difference or outcome between doing sets of, say, 85 4x2 versus 82% by 2 by 86. So that's kind of like an interesting question. What you'd really be looking at there is like the cumulative fatigue of across multiple sessions. So 85% 4x2 versus 82 to 88% will have similar training effect, I would bet, per session. But the main thing there is after 6 sessions or 6 weeks or 8 weeks of slowly doing a little bit more than you would this extra intensity have a negative effect in relation to your like recoverability? And I would say probably, assuming that the straight sets and reps were also feasible and were within the realms of what you needed to progress. Realistically, though, probably minor differences. But that would be the only thing I would see. What do you think?
I see, that is the thing. It's the long-term game is the kind of game you have to play here. Everything's way more trackable. Everything's way more relatable. You can benchmark against previous sessions so much better and so much easier. You can even benchmark against previous sets far better than, say, if you were to do 5x5 at a weight or whatever the example was here, versus a kind of spread out. You don't really know if the technical changes you're making are having a difference, or the difference in intention or difference in weight distribution or whatever it is. Whatever changes you're making as you're going from set to set are where you make most of your changes in weightlifting. You know, like if Gerf has 6 sets of snatches to do, he probably won't have the exact same snatch on set 6 that he will on set 1, because he's constantly trying to increase the efficacy of things. He's trying to make his technique better. He's trying to be faster in certain portions, all of this kind of stuff. So when you're looking at whether it's better because you'll get slightly more practice at heavier weights versus slightly less practice if you were to just work at a single working weight, I think the single working weight is better because you just get better, more effective practice done. That's far more kind of relatable to previous sessions. I've lost where we are in the chat altogether. Okay, Ian Young says, RTA question. So Road to Anywhere squat program. My normal day 1 is on Wednesday. I'm doing it today. He has a holiday shift. Should I shift day 2, which is normally Saturday, to Monday and then continue normally? Yes. Yeah, definitely shift it. The days of the week thing really doesn't matter. What matters is rest times in between sessions. So days of the week don't matter at all. Like a lot of time, if I give someone 4 days of training and they only get 3 days done, they'll immediately think that, oh, I'll go back and we'll start next week's program on Monday, because we always start programming on Monday. Whereas that's not what you do. Like you start next week's programming with day 4, and then it kind of rolls on and accumulates from there.
Who's your answer
there? Ian Young. It's Cyrus Carrillo.
So just started the beginner weights program. I've had 5 months of coaching, and the most I start is 45 and 75 just for a few reps and sets. Should I use this as your max? Yeah, definitely. Just use the most weight you've lifted at all in training. You know, even if you've done multiple sets and reps, still just use that as the max in programming, because if it was the squat, for example, if you've done 75 for 6 sets of 6 or something, you could safely say, okay, 80 is probably a good max, or maybe 85 even super conservatively. But for weightlifting, it doesn't really work like that. It doesn't work out that way in programming. So definitely use your just the most you've lifted for any kind of repetition, the most weight you've got as your 1 RM.
Up next then, Banana Bread asks, regarding physique and performance, is traditional six-pack physique ideal for all athletes, or is it theoretically possible that people like Andy Ruiz, Tyson Fury, Mark Hunt perform their best as fat men? So what most studies would say in terms of athletic performance across multiple domains will say somewhere around 12 to 14% of body fat is ideal for athletics, for power to weight ratio, speed, strength, durability to training is a big one, because obviously once people get very, very low in their body fat, they'll tend to drop out of training for a host of reasons. So 12 to 14% body fat. Now, will most of us have peeled abs at 12 to 14%? Some of us definitely will. Some people will have very, very clear abs. Some people won't at all. So the six-pack abs thing probably isn't the best thing to think about, but there are distinct advantages to you being in that kind of butter zone in terms of hormonal activity, in terms of general actual weight you're holding on your frame. I don't think it's ideal for like someone like Tyson Fury to have a belly. It's not ideal. Now, psychologically, for someone like Tyson Fury, maybe it's not ideal if they're in a dietary restrictive period of training and they're trying to do a fight camp. Maybe they're not able to do that because of psychological reasons. But physiologically, there should be no reason why Tyson Fury wouldn't perform better at a more lean body fat percentage. Now, anything below kind of 12 to 10%, there would certainly be distinct physiological disadvantages to being that lean. But I think in the cases you mentioned, like Andy Ruiz, Tyson Fury, Mark Hunt, there's no reason that fat makes them better. It's just in their particular case, that fat is maybe through some psychological things going on or something along those lines, or they just feel like it'll make them better. Yeah, the answer is no.
Sorry, I've lost where I'm going.
Robert Craig says, does anyone else get bad cramps when they're using creatine? So I assume you're talking about like creatine monohydrate, the most basic form.
I'd probably get a different brand of creatine if give you cramps, because I've never heard of that.
And well, I've heard of people getting dehydrated from taking it, but that's in like the case where people drink no water at all. So Robert, maybe it is a thing of that you're dehydrated and you're not, like, creatine will allow you to hold more intracellular water in certain cases. So maybe you do need to hydrate a small bit better, but as Gareth said, try a different brand.
Banana Bread said, thanks, favorite smart lads. What I really like about Banana Bread is the consistency of his brand.
Always there with the banana and the bread.
Yeah, like I really like the consistency.
Remember when we didn't know if it was Banana Bread and the emojis were in his name, but clearly they're not in his name.
Yeah, but
he's just there every time with it.
That's how consistent he was,
yeah.
And he is, that's really...
Eugene Poon says, when was the tank survey done? Well, Gareth has just made a tank survey.
I'd like to see
I'd like to see 80-20.
80-20. Yeah,
80-20.
That's good. That's fair enough, yeah.
And if you're watching this post-doc and not live, or it's just on the video, comment below if you want to buy a tank. Patrick McDonald says, or McDonough, sorry, have you heard of a postural problem called left AIC stroke right pattern? And if you have you trained somebody with it? I haven't heard of that.
Jesus, no, I've never heard of that. Called left AIC right pattern. That sounds very close to something a kind of fringe therapist might say to you.
Yes.
I'd be worried, Pat, if there wasn't someone.
I'd be skeptical, Pat.
Yeah. But no, it could be. It certainly could be. And it could be correct even if the fringe person did say it to you. But that does sound... But this could be... Look, if this is a complete clinical thing, if it's similar to scoliosis or whatever, then by all means. No, but we haven't heard of it, so I couldn't give any... any kind of perspective on that, to be honest.
Sorry to be cutting across and skipping in line. One of my
Yeah.
athletes is training, Evan Lee. You regular watchers of the live stream will recognize that name. And Evan's training partner has showed up to training in the most haggard pair of Addy Star 2008 you've ever seen in your entire life.
You gotta let it go. Like
That is
let it go.
That is hilarious. It won't focus now, but they're held together. It's not even like duct tape is holding them together. That's actual masking tape.
You're the only person who says duct tape. No one says duct tape. Like everyone says duct tape. You're the only person.
You know, and duct tape
is
right. Actually.
I know it's right.
No, it's actually incorrect in some cases because there's a brand of duct tape.
Well, you say you're the only person in the world to say that.
But this guy is actually that's blue masking tape. Like that's not a strong thing. That's
lads. I'm hearing great things about the tier lifters. A couple of my lifters had them now, and a few other people have seen places saying they're good shoes. Still haven't got some, but I'm interested. There's just so many new shoes recently. You can't keep up with them.
No,
can't keep up with
we'll
them.
have to do the tier lifters.
And we'll have to do the fake Ramaleos.
Yes.
Or as someone said, we've got Ramaleos at home.
The Schmamashmeos.
Eek said sent the tracking Rick. I see no tears. All the pants are gone. It was what happened. We engaged with a shipping software company. They said everything would work, and it appears if it did. Then we contacted and engaged with the company that were doing the actual shipping, and they said no, they're lying.
It won't work.
They said it won't actually work. So that's what happened with the issue. So it should be everyone should have got a track email automatically and stuff, but it basically just a large shipping company lied to us.
Yeah. It's mad they lied to you just to get all the money you sent, and then they set up the software.
Audacity to be like, hey, just following up on your account.
Just following up on our account, is it? An account we couldn't send any packages through.
Yeah. Justin asks, Minkavicius. I feel like it's
nailed it.
Could you run the off-season athlete or RT during the season? No, I wouldn't. You could do it in parts. You could do like 2 sessions per week. Generally, like the sweet spot for most in-season athletes, if it's like field sports, so if you have a distinct season, there's a chance your particular sport probably does best with like 2 sessions a week. Maybe more, depending on the sessions, but I'd be hesitant.
Yeah.
Just an ass.
There's actually the rugby in-season program is written and ready to go on the site. It's just not up there yet. So if you're a rugby player, just an ass, then that would be a great option for you. Eugene says, yeah, I hate soccer too, but I'm not for defecating in my hands and playing for it. Dara might seek some help. Dara definitely needs help.
We're at 51 as well for the tank top, lads. See, this is the kind of feedback.
See, this is the thing.
This is like, that's where I can't commit. We can't commit to orders like that.
No
one can't. Product development, designing it, deciding the material, getting samples. Samples are inevitably wrong.
You've no idea how much heartache this stuff takes.
If it's worth it, it's great because people get the pants and they're great. I feel great then because you're like, oh, that's great because people got a good product. But if you put a load of work into like a jersey and like no one bought it, what's the story? Like these hoodies are really nice.
Spencer O'Neill said he just bought a hoodie. These hoodies are for sale.
So fucking nice.
Just this weekend on the website.
I'm so happy. Like the hoodies are really nice. Pants are really great. T-shirts have all been great. But I'd hate to put the work into something where no one really bought them.
Yeah.
That would be so upsetting. Hello, friends. What do you lads think of Widowmaker squats? Taking a 10 rep max and resting at the top long enough to get 20 reps. I think that's a recipe for deviated aorta, but
so winners are made.
I think that's just how you get headaches, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think like you're kind of cheating yourself there a bit.
See, firstly, it can't be a 10 rep max because the 10 rep max is absolute maximum. Cannot do anymore. So even if you rested for 10 minutes with it on the top, that's still not a 10 rep max. I don't know to what level you're missing a training effect as well when you're just resting for as long as you need to rest. Like a squat set done over the course of 2 minutes isn't the same as a squat set done over the course of 20 seconds. You know, I think most things that work are being used currently and are being used widely at the moment. You know, like we've been training and lifting weights and making people stronger and faster and more powerful for a long, long time and tracking our results for a long, long time as a species. I think there's a reason people don't do Widowmaker squats. There's a reason most professional athletes don't zercher squat or do those kind of things, you know. The fringe elements tend to stay on the fringes, not due to the lack of people understanding them or knowing them, but due to their inefficacy. So I take everything new with a pinch of salt, to be honest. Connor Smith said, got the squat program to start after I finished the pull. Thanks, lads. Nice, Connor. That's great to hear. Eugene says, stenazanazanal.
Someone said stenapsazole. That's a good one.
NAP?
Yeah. No, yeah.
Oh, nap. Like taking a nap.
Robert Gregg. But unfortunately, and then like Eugene saying Sika stenazolol is far enough away from Sika stenazolol. But then you get so far away, it's just confusing for people. Like if you saw that in Holland and Barrett or like Boots, you'd be like, what the fuck is this? Whereas if you see Sika sleep, you're like, oh, I sleep. And then you're like, oh yeah, so Sika stenazolol.
Young Whirlin says,
nailed it.
Says max day of RTA program. Nice. Very excited to see where I end up. Even before maxing, I highly recommend this tough but effective program. Do I jump right into the maintenance program next week? Yeah. Take 3 or 4 days off. Just give yourself a break and then hop into the maintenance phase.
I wish I could run the squat program. Like, I wish I didn't know. I wish I wasn't a part of Seek Strength, right?
And you could just run it.
I'd love to know what you'd feel like in the last day.
Yeah.
Like, I'd just love to know, like, I'd love to look at that program and be like, fuck. Like, yeah. I'd love that. That'd be great.
Eugene Poon says, RTAing front squats week 7. Very happy with progress despite needing to bring the weights down. Stoked for a decent PR. Nice. Yeah, the RTA front squats is grueling.
Eugene, let us know how your knees are holding up as well.
Yeah.
Justin, does lack of mobility affect maximum power output? That's a good question. And we recorded the Werner Gunter training series, and I was talking about this. So in a theoretical model, it would make sense. So if you have restrictive movement moving into a range of motion, then theoretically how fluid you get into this, if it's restricted, will reduce the speed at which you're moving. So it could reduce the amount of power output you'd have. So the what we're kind of talking about, because Werner Gunter was doing a lot of stretching, you know, and obviously he's won 3 world championships in the shot put, so he's obviously pretty okay at shot putting, I would imagine. 3 world championships is pretty good, isn't it?
That's pretty good.
I'd say it's pretty good.
3 more than we have.
So the in sports, in the athletic endeavor, one of the most important qualities that athletes have is the ability to relax between contractions very quickly and then move into that next contraction as fast as possible. So you go from like peak contraction, fully relaxed muscle state to the next contraction. So we have to relax and go between these muscle contractions. You take running, you know, you have your agonist and antagonist muscles, you know, you have your hamstrings, quads, glutes, hip extensors, hip flexors, knee extensors, flexors, feet. Everything is moving consecutively and they're moving as fast as possible in a very rhythmic fashion. And the faster you go between those, the most efficient fashion would let you know or would imply that you have the ability to move efficiently and potentially be more athletic or more powerful. So if you have restricted range of motion, and for whatever reason that is, you know, if it's neurological inhibition, if it's an adhesion or scar tissue, don't call them scar tissue anymore, they kind of call them adhesions now, literature, and I'm sure I
guarantee you they'll come back to scar tissue.
It'll be something eventually, or if you have an injury, or if you have a lack of kind of neurological connectivity with that particular muscle, for whatever reason you have that lack of range of motion or mobility, you could very likely not move into that position as fast as possible. And logically, I think that makes good sense. And I know the angry physios would argue against it and say, fine. But, you know, if you look at weightlifting, if you look at people who are very tight, their ability to get into the bottom position is going to be restricted. So you're not going to be able to snatch as much. You're not going to get under as fast as possible. So being a very well-rounded, very mobile athlete only makes sense in the athletic endeavor. I think the problem with these angry physios, and I keep coming back to it, is like they just either train kind of squat, bench, and deadlift themselves. And I'm not talking about in powerlifting fashion. I mean, just in a general fashion, or they'll train like gen pop people, you know. And you can kind of get away with these things when we're looking for like maximum athletic endeavors and high performance stuff, you know, and we're looking for big snatches or big clean and jerks or big throws or big wrestling or big submissions. You know, you want to be fluid, powerful,
slippery.
Justin S.
Will we pick a few questions?
He was called, yeah. TDH Brown said, recent new finds found behind appreciate informed videos. Thank you, TDH.
Okay. Oh, I found a good one about stanazol earlier. Okay, one baby says, on the topic of our favorite vitamin, how is it stanazol as well as the one that's been linked with Sika Stan?
That's my fault.
It is your
Yeah, I
fault.
just kept saying it.
Bodybuilders seem to claim stanazol is tearing and joint pain city, or tear and joint pain city. However, it's interesting to see that this often isn't the case with athletes using the drug. That really comes down to dosing, and it's dosing across all PEDs. Bodybuilders' daily dose is like an athlete's weekly or bi-monthly dose in most cases for most athletes. It's just and that's the problem with PEDs, the problem with information on PEDs online. It's the problem with people like the big YouTube channels who talk a lot about PEDs are all bodybuilders. And they talk about PEDs and the way PEDs act and the way PEDs act for athletes. And they have no idea about athletes.
Those people talk about bodybuilding or talk about drugs and bodybuilding like a heroin addiction, you know.
Yeah, like they're drug addicts who also do bodybuilding.
Kieran is saying 200 kilos is standard for Sika squat. What would be the bench press, overhead press? So bench is 140.
Yeah,
and press is like at least body weight. At least.
Yeah, you really should press body weight.
Darrow wouldn't get into Sika stand
and Gurf wouldn't get in because he can't bench 140. So it's just me and Gurf waiting at the border, telling no one they're allowed in.
Well, I'd have more chance of benching 140. You're 115 kilos, like
125 this morning. I'm sick though.
Oscar, so during off season for Taekwondo, when I'm upgrading my lower body strength on the RTA, should I leave lower body mobility on the work, the back one, or push that one? No, just in regards to the previous answer, is answering for Justinus. Definitely keep your mobility, especially for Taekwondo. You don't want to lose any of that flexibility, pliability for those kicks.
Yeah. Okay, Jimmy Tyson said most PEDs are hormonal. How much are acute drug use, things like ephedrine, amphetamines, cannabis, etc.? A lot. Yeah. Ergogenic aids in general.
Oh, ephedrine, yeah.
Whew. Massive amount. But like cognitive enhancers, stimulants, like uppers, downers, everything you could ever imagine. Beta blockers to control people's physiological stress response. Everything, lads. Everything.
Yeah.
Is used all of the time in all sports.
You wouldn't believe what people take sometimes and how much they take of it.
You couldn't shake a stick at it.
Yeah. And you wouldn't believe how rational they'd be. Like, that's not that big a deal.
And how reliant people are in it.
Yeah. You'll be surprised how much it fucks people up as well, lads.
Yeah.
You'd be so surprised. Okay, we
better go.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. These hoodies available to the end of the weekend. 20% off everything on the site. Thank you so much again to everybody who helped us out earlier today with our scammer incident. And your t-shirts are going out to you guys very, very soon. But thanks again for that. We really do appreciate it. The Sika Stan community is strong and volatile.
And aggressively supportive.
So
really
thanks.
Appreciate it.